Not to interrupt, but you're not supposed to have garlic tonight, Zenitsu. It's said to deter the spirits of the ancestors. You know, because it smells bad.
What are you on about? Sounds like some bumpkin folklore to me.
How did you celebrate Obon in the city?
Just festivals and food and stuff. Zenitsu shrugged. It's like the Tanabata, but less romantic. And the costumes are creepy.
The Tanabata?
You've never heard of it? You really are uncultured.
I've never heard of it either, Zenitsu.
You admitted bashfully.
Blah! Well, I guess it's not that common of a holiday. I'd love to share the story with you if you'll listen, Traveler-chan.
Oh, sure. Well, legend has it there was a princess named Orihime who wove clothes by the banks of the Amanagawa. They were very beautiful, but she was sad because she was too busy weaving that she could never have the chance to fall in love. Her father arranged her with a cowherd named Kengyu, who lived on the other side of the river. And it was love at first sight. But their passion and romance distracted them. Orihime stopped producing clothes and Kengyu's cows were wandering all over heaven. The princess's father became angry and forbade them to be together, except one day of the year. Unfortunately, when they met again, there was no bridge for them to cross to embrace. So the princess cried and cried, until finally a flock of magpies pitied her and carried her over to meet him. They say if it rains on Tanabata, the river rises too much for the magpies to carry her over, and they have to wait one more year to meet. That's very sad. It's not all bad. Because of that tale, Tanabata is considered the luckiest day of the year for finding love, which is why boys and girls write their wishes and hang them up in the festival stalls. What do you usually wish for, Zenitsu?
My own destined soulmate, written in the stars.
Sap.
The heavens recently granted my wish, and they're standing right in front of me. Right, Traveler-chan?
You're the lucky one, since you'd only have to see him once a year. Inosuke whispered in your ear. I can hear everything no matter how quiet you are, you know. I still have a question. Yeah, what? Why didn't he just swim across? Eh? A stronger man would have dove in and let her ride on his back. Taken her away from her bad father.
That's an intriguing idea, Inosuke.
That's not the point of the story, Zenitsu grumbled.
The point is that their love is so strong they always wait for each other.
He turned to you with a sweet simper.
You know I'd wait for you across the river all year long, Traveler-chan.
I believe you. Tanjiro sighed and you giggled.
There's a lot of speculation on what happens during Obon. What do you believe, Tanjiro?
Well, my parents told me that the spirit world is cyclic, in the same way that we have seasons. And that on Obon, the barrier between our world and theirs is the thinnest, which is why we can perceive each other in some form or another. And even though I never saw any of my ancestors, that doesn't mean they couldn't see the celebration we prepared for them. We'd go to the burial grounds close to where we harvested our coal, and light candles all the way through the forest to the village, to guide their way so they wouldn't get lost. Why would spirits get lost? They've been around a lot longer than us. They should know their way around by now. Stop poking holes in people's belief systems, idiot.
Ah, speaking of beliefs, I also read somewhere that in the West they wear masks to scare away the spirits. They used to call it Soween, to mark the end of their harvest. But now they call it Hollow something. Halloween-ween?
One ween, Zenitsu corrected.
Halloween-one-ween?
Halloween!
Sorry.
Does it work?
Does what work, Inosuke?
Does wearing masks scare the spirits? I'm wearing one.
I don't know. I fell asleep before I got that far in the book.
Why don't we see for ourselves? You proposed with a smile. There's a burial ground not that far from here. We should light candles for our ancestors too. No, I don't like that idea.
Why is that, Zenitsu?
Because unlike you, I don't have any relatives I know well enough to talk to. I'm sure my ancestors would be ashamed of me. I don't want to meet them. Don't make me go, Traveler-chan! What if they curse me?
I'm sure that won't happen, Zenitsu. Anyway, how did you celebrate Obon where you're from, Traveler?
Oh god! They probably already heard what I said about them! I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead!
Well,
we live near a mountainside, where a special kind of flower would grow. Just after the harvest, the men in the village would hike up the mountain to collect them, and the wives would prepare a great big food spread. Contrary to what you said, Tanjiro, we did use garlic. Since the scent is so strong, it was meant to draw the spirits from the burial grounds. And after that,
May
I see your hand, young man? A middle-aged woman with jet-black frazzled hair interrupted your conversation, sweeping past you and reaching out to Tanjiro. As expected, he put up no resistance and offered his palm to her. I see you've had a deeply troubled past.
How do you know that?
We're teenagers carrying swords. How do you think she knows? It's obvious. Let's go.
Might I bestow a gift upon you?
She smiled up through cat-like green eyes.
A gift?
We don't want whatever you're selling. Thanks anyway. Come on, Tanjiro. Zenitsu started dragging you and Tanjiro away by the arm.
Zenitsu, wait! I don't want to be impolite.
Don't you know better than to look them in the eye? You really know nothing about city life. The crazies all come out on Obon. You'll be safer if you keep your head down and don't talk to strangers. You talked to the girl we bought our food from.
That's true, you did.
For a long time. Whoa, that's different! I was just offering our patronage! It would have been unfitting to not comment on her stunning culinary craftsmanship. And her looks, apparently. Why do I go anywhere with you two?
Why'd you make me bring them, Traveler-chan? Next year, let's just plan for you, me, and Nezuko-chan.
You snorted at that. Zenitsu finally slowed his pace and peeked over his shoulder. Okay, I think we lost her. How much further to where you're taking us, Traveler-chan? It's not far now. Just a little ways down that path. You pointed. Huh? What's wrong, Tanjiro? Why'd you stop?
It's nothing. I just felt a cold chill.
Do you want my Haori? I don't want you getting sick.
Thanks for the offer, but I'm fine. It's past now.
After a while, the silence grew, and Tanjiro walked closer to you, glancing away as the small festival lights and sounds faded far in the background.
I really hate to sound like a wet blanket, but are you sure this is the right way, Traveler?
Yeah, this is it. Just up ahead. It's dark.
Oh.
It looks like the villagers must have picked the cemetery's other entrance to light the candles this year.
I'm sorry, guys. That's my mistake. Don't feel bad. It's still fairly early. We don't mind the exercise. Right, guys?
They nodded in agreement. Well, since the gate is open, why don't we just go through? It'll be a lot faster than going all the way around again. Through a graveyard? On a night when the dead supposedly walk around? I thought you didn't believe in bumpkin superstitions. I only thought that spirits caring about the smell of garlic was silly. Demons prowl around at night, so why wouldn't ghosts? Man up, Monitsu. You just have no sense of self-preservation! Coward! No, Inosuke, Zenitsu's right. People can be good or evil in their life, so it stands to reason that some spirits might be more dangerous than others. Traveler-chan, if you get scared, you can hold my hand. I'll keep you safe. You're the one shaking, though. I can't help it! All my fear goes straight to my knees! I've told you this!
Traveler says it's not far, Zenitsu. Don't worry.
As you proceeded further into the graveyard, it became very difficult to see. The moon was masked by a murky, ominous overcast, causing the deep shadows of the trees to appear almost bottomless. An abyss in the grass. Zenitsu's nerves seemed to wind tighter with each gust of wind that disturbed the fallen leaves. Every natural rustle.
Ah! What was that?
Probably a rabbit.
An undead rabbit? Ah! There it is again! It's a monster! It's following us!
Shh, please be quiet, Zenitsu. Don't disturb the spirits. It's still early in the evening yet. Some of them might still be resting.
What? I keep hearing footsteps. They're stomping in a pattern. Are they trying to hypnotize me? Yeah! Make it stop!
It's really dark out here, and a lot of trees and headstones look the same. It's easy to get disoriented if you don't know your way around. Maybe someone is lost. No, it's just that man over there. Tanjiro pointed into the darkness, where an open hilltop poked through a line of trees.
What man?
The man in red wearing a mask.
Did you hit your head on a tree branch or something? You're scaring me, Tanjiro.
Huh? What do you mean?
There's nobody there, Gunpachiro.
You all can't see him?